viewers, welcome to my happy place. Dogs, jooks and guitars. Let's go in and see what we're doing today. G'day viewers, welcome to paradise. What we're working on today is a slight diversion. Now, I have been working on this guitar, this arm bevel, and because I stained it, it's created a few additional problems for me. So I've masked it off and now I'm just applying shellac to it. I want to get about 20 coats on that before I then start dealing with the rest of the box. But I've had to divert from that project for the moment because I'm building a CNC desk, which is now, I've sold the bike, yay. Well, sad actually, very sad. But I've got the money now to buy a CNC machine, so now I need to build a CNC desk. So this will be my CNC desk. So I want to just show you how I'm going forward with that. Using the 90 by 35 MGP structural timber. This is Australia, so we have probably different sizes to you. 90 mil by 35 on the outsides, and then 35 by 70 on the inside verticals, and then just using dressed 42 by 19 mil on the inside shelves. That's going to be a shelf. It's not finished yet, obviously. It's going to be a shelf for the air pump or the vacuum. The accumulator thingy will go in there. You'll see all that as it comes together. And most particularly, I wanted to use these old shelves, these old drawers that I had like out of a tall boy I had years ago. And I've saved them for so long, I thought now's the time to use them. So I've got 3 drawers either side. I'll put a piece of dressed pine and stain it on the outside. It'll look beauty. I'm about to just go ahead and paint the whole substructure black. What I've been doing is just haven't checked that one out, but double coat screws on all the main plates. On the inside plates, I've, as you can see there, just check them out, just cut them and check them, and then coat screw them. Makes for a very strong, stable workbench. And that's important because this thing's going to be jigging all over the shop. I might even make it flush at the back so that I can then just bolt it to the wall, because this is where it's going. Previously I had a shelf full of scrap timber, so I'm going to use this shelf and the bottom shelf for scrap timber. Just to leave a hole there so that I can still use it for timber storage. Obviously I'll have 3 drawers either side, that'll be a lot of storage there. I'll cut an arch just here to make it look more like a desk. And Bob's your uncle. It'll be great. I'll keep you posted. So this is what it looks like after it's been painted. It looks so much more special. And with just the 3mm marine ply. So I need, that's where the blower's going to go. And then this will be just timber storage from here to the end, like I explained before. But yeah, my point I'm making is I just need to cut another piece of ply for that area there for the top half storage of timber. And what I wanted to show you was how to cut your ply using this saw. It's so important that you use the tools correctly. Amateur tip. Anyway, so what you need to do when you cut this is use the blades at the front. I wasn't using the blade at the front. This would be jamming by now. But I'm using this cut here to help make the cut proceed. Okay, so the other amateur tip there is to block the end off. Anyway, so I've got to cut that a bit more to fit it into that hole there, but you're getting the idea. Okay, so here we are. I'm up to the draw part. I'm satisfied that I've got this side right. If you've ever done draws before, you need to be really careful to get it right. And you know, it's all about square, basically. You've got to be square that way. You've got to be square that way. And then you want the drawers to sit a certain amount of flush. Now in this case, I'm going to line the front of this with stained dressed pine to give it a finish. And that's where it's going, and that's how I'll fit it. I'll overlap this side here and then have ply on this side. Have a wider, it's going to be wider than this 42, it's going to be the 60 mil. So I can bring that quite close and then have a bit overhanging here to hide the edge of the ply. You know, these drawers are probably 60 years old, silky oak. Absolutely awesome. I'll finish those up a bit nicer when I'm finished. So what I had to do was cut the drawer sliders. Now I did that on my router table, just using that sucker there. Not focusing. Anyway, and do it in 2 or 3 hits. So I did it in 2 hits. So it took probably 5 mil the first deal and then another 5 mil the second run. I did enough to do both sides. The reason why I've left this to last is because it is the most sensitive. You really want the whole structure to be finalised. And then what I've done is let these hang basically and excess length until I worked out exactly how long or how high I wanted this, because I'm going to have probably a 42 mil finish on the bottom and a 50, 60 mil finish on the side, and then a 90 mil finish up here. And I've still yet to cut that arch, which I propose doing. And yeah, so I've just finally done this as the last thing to do, basically. And it's important to get this part right, because the last thing I want is drawers that don't work properly. And that's so critical to get this square, plumb, and accurate this way so that the drawers slide nicely. Is what it is. But if you've never done drawers before, you don't appreciate how painfully difficult they can be to get right. And that's where we're up to. It's getting there. Not much more to say. I'll update you further later. Out. Okay, by way of an update, I've fixed the sliders. I've just put that in there to make sure it fits with the base, just to give it support. I've about to put this in, and basically to see if it fits. So everyone keep their fingers crossed. It fits. Goes in like that. And that's the outlet piece that goes in there like that. Obviously it wouldn't go in with that installed, so you've got to take that out for it to come out. And then keeping in mind on the other side of this, so you'll have to turn it around when you want to empty it, which is a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. Open that up, and I suppose I could leave it in there that way, and you take that out to to clean that. So yeah, it does need access periodically. So I think maybe I just leave it that way, but then you don't have access to the airflow control, so I'll have to work out what's the greater evil, or the greater benefit. But for the moment, I'll leave it around this way, because it looks prettier. So the plan is to keep that bottom rail there and that one there as timber storage, accessible from this side. I'll cut a hole in the plywood on this side. I'm going to line that with plywood yet. As you see, I've started doing the pine fascia and made a egregious error in that I routed this edge here when I was working on this. Didn't think about it, I just ran the router all the way along, and that was stupid. I should have kept this square to match that up to it and then route the inside and the outside. Silly me. So in the end I had to do a bit of a fancy joint there, which it is what it is. I've used pine putty, so that'll stain up the same as the pine fascia. I'm just waiting for that drawer to glue, because I had to. It's important to get these drawers right, I tell you, because I must have gone through 100 different methods, but we got there in the end. And that's the update so far. Roger. So I'm just filling up the holes. It's important to understand, I guess, that if you don't punch the nails in, they don't bite very well. And I've glued this onto that just to make sure it's solid. And I just wanted to see, I've clamped that off just so that those two joints there pull in really nice and tight. And the other thing I wanted to mention was getting the whole thing square and plumb is so important to make sure the drawers work. But what I didn't point out was the amateur tip, which was this is the putty I'm using. It's just multi-fill El Cheapo, but pine coloured. What I wanted to point out was that to keep the these blokes here plumb naturally is not that inherent, because everything moves. And as you can see here, I've checked, well, you probably see it better over there, I've checked that stud upright out to latch into this beam. But what you can't see there is I've put a washer just in there behind this piece to allow that to bend that way. So you tighten this one right up and the whole thing goes whoop. Loosen this one off, tighten that one up, and that reduces the thickness. So between that washer and those two bolts, you can make sure that that piece there is plumb. Amateur tip. That's obviously the hose that's going to be for the sucking of the CNC. We're getting there, we're getting there. Okay, as you can see, we're coming along. I've added this rounded feature, which I think is interesting. The sun's setting over there, and for some reason I'm getting light on this section here. It's just throwing light very differently than what you'd expect it to do. So interesting. I still need to rub these back a bit more. They're all still in, still working. As you can see, it's now got the sides on. with this is as I had visaged the storage. I've still got to put the back on from here up to the top, so I'll do that tomorrow. And then I have to hit it with some primer, pre-stain primer, special primer, and then stain it, and then carbethane it. And I won't be staining the silky oak drawers. I want them to pop. The rest of it will be in Japanese black with a gloss finish. I kind of like it, and that's obviously the exhaust business for the CNC machine. Thank you very much. Morning, viewers. Obviously the desk is upside down. It's pretty much ready for its stain. Some might say that you should leave it like that and just clear coat it, but no, we go a bit crazy here. What I want to do with it is that. So what I'm looking at here is that's with primer and that's without primer. So you can see the stain on a softwood just goes in and just, whereas if you prime it first, you can still see the grain. And then when I put a bit of clear coat on that, it'll come up all right actually. So that's the difference with primer and without. So I've screwed the top on, both inside, just here, and along the front here, and obviously the same on the other side there. This is going to be my light strip. I always like to have lights on my furniture just to show it off. And the front still yet to, well, the front and sides are still yet to have a border piece. Now I'm not going to do that until it's upright so I can see it from the top, so I can make sure I finish it nicely. And I'm going to leave it on the trestles for the moment while I stain it and carbethane it. That's the latest update. Thank you very much. And if you're wondering what it looks like after it's stained, that's it there. I used a roller, and then the brush, and then the rag. Always important to finish with the rag, because that just defines the grain and evens out any rough spots. Just going around the front. It's a bit harder to see with the light behind, but I kind of like it. And unfortunately, stained the floor as well. Anyway, we're getting there. Okay, and just about the last job to do. I've installed the beading, or turned the desk up the other way so I could see what I was doing, and then installed the, whatever that is, around the outside of the top, and then I'll just put a piece of tape on there so that I can now stain that off, and that's the last job. It's looking good. And I'll just go ahead and finalise this, try not to spill it everywhere. Just rub it in. See, it goes dark real quick. And obviously I've got to make sure I get underneath there as well, because there's a danger here, I guess, staining where there's going to be a lot of wear, like at the front of the desk here, because what will happen is in time the hard carbothane will wear off, and then it will get down to the timber, and then once it starts rubbing the timber, it'll rub the stain off and it'll look shit. But that's well into the future. I'll worry about that one day if I ever live that long. but it's a consideration to think about anyway. Stain's always a buggy. Once you put it on, you can't sand anymore, you can't touch it. All you can do is coat it and finish it. Otherwise you rub a tiny little bit off and then you've got to start again. Anyway, see what's happening here. Once the drawers goes in, it looks absolutely awesome. Okay, the CNC desk is complete and functional with CNC included. So this is what it looks like. This is the just scrap bin. Basically, that only goes half the width, whereas that goes almost the full width. But it's useful. Can't really see. And there's the vacuum unit there. I've put double the feet on it. I can't get low enough to see the feet, but the 2 feet are gripping the floor really well. So I don't think I'm going to have to bolt it to the wall like I thought I might. Hey Google, turn on the CNC desk. So it's got lights, which allows you to see what's in the drawers, and looks really pretty at night, for what that's worth. While I'm down here, this piece here is quite unique, and I kind of like it because it's not fixed. It just quite easily comes out, so you can access the exhaust unit. Easy to put back in again. And quite firmly in place, given that neither are fixed. So I kind of like that idea. It's worth copying. I was going to put a feature here and here, just haven't got around to it. I want to route something up on the CNC that looks like an ornament of some description. Probably do it in the same silky oak as what's here, and also hide that dodgy joint that I mentioned earlier. The borders seem to come up all right. Don't mind those. Cut a hole for the exhaust hose, which I don't currently need because I'm using the 40-watt laser. But previously I made up some templates for my guitars. And so they're coming along. The laser allows me to cut the logos. So yeah, it's back to making guitars, which I've kind of missed. There's my logo. Yeah, and the CNC desk. And my dog. Good job finished. Glad I can get back onto guitars. So in summary, this is the original plan that I made. As you can see, it's articulated beautifully and AutoCAD designed with elaborate detail. The whole idea simply is just to get the material list so I can go out and buy the stuff. That's pretty much the project completely documented. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Oh, too late, damn it, I should have said that earlier.